Okay, morning, y'all. Today I'm going to show you how to zoom in on the document that we did yesterday. It is a little bit tricky, so I noticed that I forgot that you guys only can use the online version of Office, so what you see is different than me, and I keep forgetting that all the time. So I will show you guys a little trick to zoom in on those guided notes so you can actually fill them in. And we will continue where we left off talking about Latin America yesterday. And we'll just continue with that guided note format. So it's going to be the same thing as yesterday, essentially, except for new information. And that's about all I have for you. Also, go Loons, Minnesota United, play tonight at 8. It's the semifinals. So make sure you tune in and root for the boys, and hopefully we can bring home, well, hopefully we can go to the finals and then bring home a championship. So with no further ado, we will go over the lesson. Okay, so first things first. When you are in the, here, we'll just close this. So I'm going to show you all how to zoom in on those notes that we did yesterday. So you would open it in PowerPoint online, and you would get it, and it would look very small like this. And your classmate, one of your classmates pointed out to me that this is extremely little and you can't barely see what you're doing. So what you can do is on this little drawdown bar, go to View, and then click Zoom, and then go down to 100% and click OK. And then you will get it the size of a full paper that you would like print. And so you all can now have it large enough where you can type stuff into it as you please. So I recommend that you do that so that you can see what you're doing. So now that that's out of the way, we will get to our wonderful lesson about Latin America. And I realized that my cool little laser pointer that looks just like a laser pointer to me actually just looks like a regular mouse pointer to you, which is a bummer. So we went over the countries of Latin America. There's a whole bunch of them, a lot more than there are in North America. Well, I guess Mexico is considered North America too, and Cuba technically, but we talked about the mega cities: Sao Paulo, Brazil; Mexico City, the biggest ones. Followed up by Brazil has got 2 in there, so Brazil's got a couple of major cities. Brazil is the most populated country in South America. And then we talked about Lima, Peru a little bit, which was kind of the smallest of the 6 mega cities, but nonetheless still a big mega city. They make 4/5 of the purchases every year in the country, so there's a ton of money inside of Lima, Peru, and barely any money in the countryside, very poor in the country. And we talked about the Panama Canal and the use of the first ever successful use of pesticides to wipe out a disease in an area. And that allowed the Americans to build this big canal right here inside Panama, which we then instituted a coup in Panama and had them, well, it was a rebellion, so we funded the Panama government to rebel against Colombia, who used to own this land. And after we funded the rebellion, then we moved in and bought this land and built the canal. I think that's how it all went down. Kind of a imperialist move by the United States. It also allowed for us to transfer navies in between these, or trading vessels. So it really was a really big economic boon to the United States. And the rest of the world too. Everyone benefited from it, and they still do. So this is going to be in your notes. Facts and figures. This is the Panama Canal. It cost $750 million to build the canal and buy the land around it. On September 2010, the 1 millionth ship passed through the canal. So 1 million ships had gone through the canal in less than 100 years. It's a lot of ships. And the cost of the average toll to pass through the canal is $150,000. So if you're going to move a big ship through the Panama Canal system, it costs you $150,000. Average number of workers who constructed the canal every day, 6,000 people on any given day were working on the canal, and 5,600 people died. I don't think that's including the French. I think a lot more Frenchmen died as well. Movement. So this is migration issues within Latin America. Most Latin countries have negative migration. So that means more people are leaving than are coming in. This little map here is how many people are leaving per 1,000 people. So the red countries, 3 people in every 1,000 are leaving. So Cuba is experiencing a lot of people leaving. Guyana, looks like Puerto Rico, Jamaica, El Salvador, lots of gang problems in El Salvador. Nicaragua is close, and then these countries are pretty good, less than 1 people in 1,000, 0.1 to 0. So not many people are leaving these South American countries. There's a lot of stability in South America right now. This is I think he's former Mexican president. This is just an article about how the Mexican government was corrupt. Still is in many ways, a lot of people say. But I don't think he's ever been brought to trial for anything. Of the 19 governors from the party who posed with Peña Nieto at an Inauguration Day photo on the National Palace, 10 have fallen foul of law charges ranging from bribery to diversion of resources to collusion with organized crime. The cartels had pretty much influenced this administration in a lot of ways, and that's still a problem going on in Mexico, as many of you, I'm sure, know. How climate change is driving emigration from Central America. Essentially, crops aren't growing as good there anymore because of extreme weather events. And crops like bananas are really suffering right now from a major blight. And that a lot of people say is driven by climate change. And coffee and chocolate are looking like they've got a perilous future as well in Latin America, and those are 2 pretty big cash crops. Gang violence is a problem in a lot of Latin American countries. Haiti is a really bad area for gang violence. It's one of the poorest countries in the planet. It is the oldest republic the oldest Black republic. It's actually I think it is older. The Republic of Haiti is older than the United States, I believe. So I think it's the first republic in the Western Hemisphere. Long checkered history, lots of invasions of Haiti. It's really too bad. So it looks like my friend, much like myself, is interested in Cuba. So we'll do a little bit of review here. and learn a couple of new things about Cuba. Cuba is a pretty cool country. I like this map. It kind of shows how elevated it is. There's a lot of mountains in Cuba. On average, the per capita income, so if the average income of a Cuban is $12,300 a year, so that would be considered in poverty in this country. They have a gas industry. They do a lot of refining oil into gas, and then sugar, tobacco are big cash crops, still and traditionally, but not as big as they used to be. 60% of people identify as Catholic in Cuba. There's a new growth of like Presbyterianism inside of Cuba, I think. 79.2 is the average life expectancy. It's pretty good, really up there, high in the world. They've got free healthcare in Cuba. It's pretty good. It's some of the best healthcare in the planet that they can offer with their limited resources, and they have a really good education system that a lot of countries try to model on. There's 8.3 doctors for every 1,000 people. So the politics, suffrage means who can vote. You can vote when you're 16 years old in Cuba, and everyone can vote. It's universal. But they have to vote for the Communist Party. They choose people from the Communist Party. The state plans and controls the economy. A single party holds power. There's no private property. In theory, but in practice, there really is private property. So Argentina, I don't know why that picture is not coming up. Oops, we don't want that to happen. Damn it. That's what I get. Okay, so Argentina's doing better than Cuba. 20,000, almost 21,000. Not too shabby. They got food processing, which is they do a lot of beef exports from Argentina and animals. I think probably hogs, I would imagine. Motor vehicles, they do construction of cars there and stuff like that. Catholics, 92%, so very religious country, very Catholic. 77.8 is their life expectancy, so about a couple years lower than Cuba, or maybe about a full year, actually, not a couple. They've got less doctors for sure than Cuba, 4.99 per 1,000, so about half. You can vote from when you're 18 to 70. I guess you can't vote when you're older than that. I wonder if I guess it's true. Universal and compulsory voting, 16 years of age, optional for national elections. Interesting. And they're a republic, so they're not communist. So here's the per capita incomes in Latin American countries. Panama is number one, slightly, probably 25,000. We've got Chile slightly below that, Mexico, Brazil, and then it kind of drops off from there. These are really industrialized countries, and these ones not so much. Bolivia's getting better. They used to be really, really poor. What do you think contributes to different per capita incomes? It's the difference in their economic strength. The poorest country in the Western Hemisphere is Haiti. We talked about that earlier. They only make about $1,200 a year on average, a person. So that is very poor, a few dollars a day. 60% of the population is living under the national poverty line of their country, which is much lower. They would all be considered in poverty almost in our country. 40% unemployment. It's really awful. 10% is usually considered pretty high in the United States. And the GDP is their 150th out of 229 countries. Some countries are just smaller. So that's, and in the East, there's poorer countries like Haiti. There was a really bad earthquake that really wiped out a lot of their infrastructure in 2010. And they did not really get much aid out to the people because of really bad corruption. And I just realized that I've probably been rambling for a long time. 15 minutes. Okay, good. That's not too long. Rock on. So we finished all the way up to Haiti, which is good. We're getting pretty good. So what I will do, oops, wrong one. We will, there we go. So what I will do is just post the guided notes and we'll get it done. I guess that's all I have to say. See you later.